Hey guys, it's Eric. I'm up here. You can't see my face today, so today we're going to talk about some picking stuff. And anyway, I wanted to do kind of a close-up and talk a little about overview of picking in the right hand and right hand technique. We're going to talk about picking single notes or picking like melodic line stuff. Being able to work on your scale practicing, which is a really important part of your playing. So first thing is holding the pick, right hand placement, and we're going to talk about attacking the string. So, first of all, as we hold the picking up, I've probably had about in the neighborhood of 50 guitar teachers, and each one has a different picking technique. And I think the best thing for you to do is find something that's really natural for you, and that looks cool and that works okay for you. The basic idea for the pick is I like to do a thumbs up, right? And then I like to close my hand in like this, right? So I'm holding the pick like that, and then I can kind of play with it between my pointer finger and my thumb. I'm not a huge fan of playing between my middle finger and my thumb, which you see a bunch of people try to do. I don't like the angle of it, and I think Van Halen plays between his middle finger and his thumb. Yeah, he's awesome, but aside from that, I don't know a whole lot of players that do. So in general, I like to play off the side of my pointer finger and kind of the face of my thumb, so I can kind of squish my thumb into that pick. Now, the right hand placement is pretty important. What you want to do is, when we're strumming chords, we're all like having our wrist nice and up and everything. We don't necessarily want our fulcrum of our picking to be all the way back at the guitar. We want it to be a little bit closer. And there's a couple ways you can do it, and honestly, whatever works for you is going to end up being fine. But you'll see a lot of players bring a pinky down, maybe their ring finger down, they'll touch the face of the guitar, and now we've given ourselves a point of contact, right? So the other one you can do is you can drop your palm down and rest on the bridge or on the back of the strings. I do that, and I like that a lot. So I imagine kind of like there's something stuck right through my wrist, and that's what I can rotate off of. Okay, so now instead of having all this wasted arm back here and trying to, trying to be accurate from this distance, I've kind of cut all that out. Now I can play it a lot more accurately. It's the kind of analogy that, like, if you have a pen, right, you wouldn't necessarily write your name like this, right? You want to get as close to that point as you can to write. So I think that's something right away that can help you with your picking, and it'll feel funny at first because you're used to having a little bend in your wrist. You drop it down, right? So now let's talk about actually picking some notes and what we're going to do. So I love scale playing. I always have. Let's talk about pick attack, and let's talk about how the pick's going to hit the strings. The flat pickers, they've got this stuff down. Those bluegrass guys and the rockers. And I'm going to do another lesson for electric picking because I think there's some things that are a little bit different. But for the steel string and in most electric ideas, we have a couple places we can move, just like we do when we're strumming chords. I can move from my arm, and I can play. That's going to be pretty inaccurate. If I drop my wrist down or my finger down, I give myself a point of reference, whether it's my pinky or my palm. And from there, I'm moving from my wrist. So let's start by practicing moving from our wrist. Just playing the first string open, right? You're like, wow, my movement's much less. I'm playing much smaller strokes, right? The next spot we can move from for picking is we can rotate. Kind of like turn the screwdriver. I'm not really a big fan of that. You see some people do that. You see it a little bit more in strumming. But for me, that doesn't really do much for me. The thing I do like, and you see a lot of bluegrass players do to get a lot of volume, is they push through the string with their thumb. So instead of my wrist moving, I'm moving from my thumb on a down pick, pushing into the string. So if you get rid of your pick, you're kind of pushing through the string, right? Now that's kind of like how you'd write with a pencil. Now pulling up with your pointer finger, you just do the same thing. You close that finger, and that pulls the pick back up. See, I'm moving from my very fingertips. If you watch videos of Paul Gilbert play, the shredder, he's really good at playing right from those fingertips too, and it's a really accurate way to play, right? Now when you're playing like a tremolo, meaning playing the note, you end up having to go to your wrist to get that to work. So I would practice playing from the wrist, playing with no wrist movement. Those two things to me are really, really helpful. Okay? So I'm going to go on with that in the next part. I'm going to talk about pick attack and some scale exercises. But for this, in whatever scale you're playing, whether it's a pentatonic, try this idea of giving yourself a fulcrum, whether it's like your pinky or your wrist down, palm down. Try this idea of playing from your wrist. Try this idea of playing from your fingertips. Right? You get a lot better tone. You'll play a lot faster and a lot more accurately. These same concepts go into the strumming too. So we'll talk about that in a little bit as well in another video. But I'm going to come back in just a second and talk about some more picking ideas. So good luck.